All right, guys, this is Collier County Sheriff's Office. Phone number is 239-252-9300. We're here with, I think it's Deputy Polizzato. He's in car number 945. He's requesting my driver's license because I'm, quote, following him, even though what I'm doing is documenting his traffic infractions. He's on the phone with his supervisor right now. He's attempting to run my tag and get my ID. I think he's being informed that what I'm doing is completely lawful, not against the law. Yeah, if you guys want to phone into the sheriff's office, it's 239-252-9300. And again, this is Deputy Polizzato. Is that your name?
Yes, it is, sir.
What's your ID number?
2527.
2527. So again, 239-252-9300. Am I being detained?
Yes, you are, sir.
What am I being detained for?
I'm driving around. I see a vehicle suspicious following me.
Is suspicion a crime?
Yes.
No, it's not.
Okay.
What statute is that?
Okay. If somebody's following somebody around, I want to know who's following.
Okay, just because you want to know why I'm following you, I've explained why I'm following you. I said I'm documenting traffic infractions. So, suspicion is not a crime, sir. And again, 901.151, I don't have to identify myself unless I've committed a crime. So we got another one showing up here. Again, phone number is 239-252-9300. We got Polizzato. And who is this? Car number 856. You guys want to let him know that they're making a huge mistake, and he just said that he's detaining me for a non-crime, which is a violation of 42 U.S.C. 1983. And since he admitted it on camera, it makes him both civilly liable and liable in his professional capacity under 760.51, sections 1 and 2. So again, why am I being detained? Why am I being detained?
Just wait for the sergeant.
Okay. It's funny too, because Ford v. City of Boynton Beach, actually, which is a Florida Supreme Court case, specifically stated that doing what I'm doing is 100% lawful and cannot be grounds for detention. Can I get your name and ID, please? Corporal what?
Thrush, 4149.
Thrush?
Yes.
How do you spell that?
Thrush.
Thank you. And why am I being detained? Again, why am I being detained?
I want you to find out who's following my patrol car around the city.
So,
I'm driving. That's
documenting
I don't
traffic
know who's
infractions. Documenting traffic infractions. Is that illegal? Is that illegal?
driving, okay?
Is that
I don't know who's
illegal?
following me. I don't know what you're doing.
I don't have to tell you what I'm doing. That's the beauty of it. I don't have to tell you what I'm doing. I have told you what I was doing.
Well, I want to know who's following me around. I don't know who you are. I don't
Doesn't
know if you
matter.
have a gun or anything.
Who says? Who cares if I have a gun or not? Is it illegal to have a gun in the state of Florida? No?
It's illegal.
Okay.
I don't know what you're doing.
I already told you what I was doing. Documenting.
Okay. You can document all you want. And
But you're
the
going to
reason why
detain me
get
for
stopped-
documenting.
No, the reason why I get stopped, I want to know what you're doing.
I told you exactly what I was doing. In fact, I've got the cameras there. I've got cameras
Whatever
and
camera you want, sir.
yep.
Okay.
And I'm so glad that you're admitting all of this on camera.
Doesn't matter.
Got another one showing up. Is this the supervisor? Are you the supervisor?
Hey, Sergeant McGillivray, 4015.
Cool. Can you explain to him that filming is not illegal and not grounds for detention?
Mr. Carroll, I just walked up. I don't know
Absolutely.
what's going on yet, so hey.
Absolutely.
Just give me a quick second to find out what's going on,
Okay.
and we
He-
will get to the bottom.
I'll tell you exactly what's going on. He didn't like the fact that I was documenting his traffic violations. He didn't like the fact that I've documented numerous of them. So what does he do? In retaliation, he pulls me over and says that I'm being detained. I've explained to him what I was doing. He says it's suspicious. He wants to know exactly who I am, and that's why I'm detaining him, or that's why he's detaining me. That's not grounds for detention under Florida Statute 901.151, the loitering and prowling statute, and a violation of 760.51, as well as 42 U.S.C. 1983. So, again, am I being detained?
I'm going to give you...
He said he detained me only because he wants to know exactly who I am.
Okay, Mr. Carroll.
That's not grounds to detain somebody, is that?
And on the initial onset, and you know this as well as we do. Hold on. You I let you speak, right?
Go ahead.
You want to hear an answer from me?
I mean, I would like to not be detained.
Okay. Do you want to go right now?
Well, I'm asking, am I being detained?
Do you want to leave right now, or do you want to hear me talk? That's up to you.
I can hear you talk, but am I being detained?
You are not being detained as far as what I have heard.
Thank you.
Okay?
Okay.
But listen, on the initial onset, and you knew this as well as we all do, okay?
Mhm.
That there are certain things within the state statutes.
Mhm.
When we're on the course of our doing our job, okay?
Yep.
That if something arises our suspicion, and we believe that somebody is doing something, whether it be following us to target us, because we are oftentimes prey victim to people's nefarious actions, right?
Which is kind of rare, but yes.
Is it though, really?
It is
As
statistically,
any other,
yes.
listen, as
Statistically,
any
it is
other
very
profession
rare.
In this world,
Yes. In
as
fact,
any
you
other
guys don't even
profession,
make it in the top 20 of the most dangerous jobs.
we will move on past that point.
But, and in fact, actually, the number one killer of law enforcement officers is traffic violation or traffic
It's
accidents.
traffic violations. You are correct.
Yes.
But also, there is typically no other profession in our world that is simply targeted by other people for simply doing their job, as we are. Other people die for many other reasons, like roofers fall off roofs and electricians get electrocuted and stuff like that. But no one else is simply targeted for doing their job. So we do have to have an awareness and watch our surroundings, okay? So on the onset, he did not know who you were, and he decided that he needed to stop tonight and find out who was following him so that he could keep himself as well as the entire community safe. Listen,
Absolutely.
just let me finish up my sentence.
Go ahead. Absolutely.
At that point, he had the right to go ahead and stop, find out who you were, and make sure everything was fine.
Nope.
Yes, he does. He has the reason. He has the option and the reasonable suspicion to go ahead and do an
Not by Florida law. I'm
He has
sorry.
an investigatory stop.
No.
He can do an
He
investigatory
has to have
stop.
reasonable, articulable facts that a crime is committed in order to detain somebody.
No. You are wrong there.
I'm 100% correct on
Sir,
that. Just suspicion is not a crime.
Then what is a Terry stop?
A Terry stop?
Correct.
You have to have reasonable, articulable suspicion
Specific articulable facts.
of facts. Yes. Facts.
Correct.
Is following him around illegal?
If he believes that he's being followed, yes, for nefarious reason.
You know what's funny is when you were having that conversation with whoever was in 281 earlier, you specifically said my name and my cameras picked that up. So, congratulations on lying on that. Yeah. Yeah.
What's 281? I don't know what we're talking about.
281, car number 281. That he was sitting
281.
in the median with their lights off.
Okay, Mr. Carroll, at this point, we know who you are.
Yeah.
You have every ability to film in the public. That is fine. We are done with you. We have no further reason to talk to you tonight. You are free to go, sir. Do you have any other questions for me?
Can you please inform him on what allows for a
Absolutely.
lawful detention?
Absolutely.
Articulable facts. What facts did you have to detain
And
me?
he does on the initial onset have articulable facts.
And what facts were that?
When the car's following me around, I pull over, the car pulls behind me. I drive, the car's still following me. Then the vehicle turns off. I come into here, the vehicle comes back.
To document you parking in a
Right? And then
stopping and parking in a fire lane, which is illegal, by the way.
I
316.1945.
want to know who's following me around, and I have every right to know.
And you know what? You can wonder about that, but until I've committed a crime, you have no reason to detain me or get my identification.
All right, have a good day, Mr. Carroll.
And you know that we do have the
Go
right
ahead.
to perform.
You're going to leave before I do.
Mr. Carroll. Mr. Carroll,
Yes.
we are leaving unless you have anything further for us.
I'm good. Thank you, by the way.
Have a wonderful evening.
Yep. Fucking tyrant. Get on, get, tyrant. Learn the laws. Toodles. Again, if you guys want the phone number for the sheriff's office, it's 239-252-9300. And just for the record, can I get your name and ID?
Yeah, I already told you when I got out. Sergeant McGilvery, 4015.
4015?
Told you as soon as we walked out.
Yeah, I'm
Mr.
kind of deaf,
I know,
so.
I know what you're up to. I'm not going to try to at all.
No, I'm not trying to bait you into
What
it.
you're trying to
Yeah,
do.
I'm not trying to bait you into anything. You've been cordial. There we go.
Speeds below the posted speed limit. Also, as long as it's not.
As long as it's not impeding traffic.
Right, but we still consider that one of our takeable facts that it could potentially be somebody who's impaired, tired, or an influence of narcotics or drugs. We have at the onset a duty and a right to momentarily stop somebody. It's not a permanent detention. And you know that there's a big difference between those two things.
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference between being arrested and what the Supreme Court ruling has identified as being a momentary detention that does not exceedingly infringe upon your rights to continue moving.
Mm-hmm.
But on a traffic stop, we have the right to stop you until we find out what's going on. And once we find out what's going on, and maybe you just drop
But even then, most of those
coffee
cases
on
get
you.
dismissed because of the detention
And there's
anyway.
maybe nothing that ever got charged in the first place. But if I was driving and maybe spilled hot coffee on myself or dropped, something by my feet, and I drifted out or in my lane a little bit, and somebody stopped me, we do our investigation, we find out what's going on, and then we go ahead and move on with it.
Out of curiosity,
Yes, sir.
how many bolos do you guys have out on me? Quite a few.
Actually, we don't have any bolos.
No, there's no old memos or bolos.
Look out for you. Bolo means on the lookout.
Yeah, be on lookout.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm not looking for you. You have no reason to look for me.
No. What about memos?
I don't.
I know you-
To my knowledge,
No?
I don't believe that there's any specific memos with your name.
No. Okay.
We all know your name.
Nothing during roll call.
Your repeated interactions with us, yes.
Yeah.
We know who you are, obviously.
Yeah.
But
The funny thing is, I've had numerous contacts with that guy, both in dispatch and out here.
Okay.
He knows exactly who I am. He knew exactly who I was earlier when he literally said, "Oh, that's Mr. Carroll."
Okay.
So again, it's hilarious.
But what you have to keep in mind is when he saw you, whenever it was earlier, and I wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever it was that he had seen you early, he saw you, recognized you, acknowledged that it was you. Later, whether it be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15, 20 minutes, I don't know how long after that interaction. That
He never lost sight of me.
all he can see is headlights in his rearview mirror.
He never lost. In fact, actually, he lit me up with his spotlight and his car light while I was standing on the sidewalk,
Okay.
and watched me get back into my car. So he knew.
And I don't
He knew.
I haven't spoken to him about it, so I don't know. I'm simply saying that maybe, and I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm speculating at this point that he does not know that it was you from the same headlights behind him. And he's concerned.
He
about
literally
the
never
safety.
lost visual. That's the
And
thing.
he's
He
concerned
never
about
lost
safety.
visual.
So he has the right to momentarily find out who's following him, and then he can go ahead and go on with his business.
But he doesn't, though.
We have
He really doesn't.
Suspicious activity to investigate. That is one of the things we investigate.
You can investigate from a distance. You don't. It does not grant you the right to detain somebody. It does not.
Specific articulable facts, we know that we do have that under the Terry stop.
And again, following and documenting what a law enforcement officer does in the course of their duties. You got Smith v. City of Cumming. You got Glick v. Kniff. You got Ford v. City of Boynton Beach.
Know what you're doing.
Absolutely. He knew exactly what I was doing. He knew exactly what I was doing. He saw me standing, because he saw me there filming him. And then he tried to block it with his fucking spotlight. He knew exactly what I was doing.
That's your opinion that you're trying to block.
I've filmed him on numerous occasions. He's done this on numerous occasions. This is like the third time he's detained me because he wants to know who I am. This is the third time he's done it.
Okay, well, at this point now, he knows who you are. And
He's known who I was for years.
at the moment that you were following him,
He knew exactly who I was.
he knows who you were.
Because he literally shone the spotlight on me and was talking to whoever was in 281 and said, "Oh, it's Mr. Carroll."
Were you not standing on the side of the road at that time?
Literally right in front of him. And then he turned his spotlight off. I got back into my car. He started driving, and I got right back behind him. He knew exactly who I was. Never lost visual. So, I find it ironic. I think, again, maybe it's just something you don't fully quite, grasp the entire concept or the understanding of. But you guys do not have a right to detain somebody unless they have committed a crime, or unless you have articulable facts that they have committed a crime.
Not the specific articulable facts that we committed the crime, but specific articulable facts that we're investigating where the crime has, is, or is about to occur.
Yes.
Not that you
And
did.
what reasonable articulable facts did he have?
That you were following him, he does not know
It's not a
why you're
crime.
following him or why you're following him, and that you
That's not a crime.
performing some type of nefarious action towards
Okay,
potentially-
but the law isn't based off what ifs. The law is black and white. I know you said earlier, but the law is very black and white.
There's a lot of gray zone in what we
No, the only time there's gray zone is when it's being fought in the Supreme Court or in a higher court or an appellate court. That's the only time it's gray area, because at that point, understandable. But the statute has been clearly laid out. 901.151. You cannot even identify me unless you have reasonable, articulable suspicion and articulable facts that I have committed a crime, about to commit a crime, or have already committed a crime. And you don't. Committing a crime, yeah. But that's the thing. And I'm not doing any of that. What reasonable, articulable facts does he have? None. Okay, a car's following me. Cars follow you guys all the time.
Not nonstop.
It wasn't nonstop. It was maybe a couple of minutes.
And I wasn't.
A couple of minutes. I could understand if I was following him for an hour, maybe he might be a little bit, highly suspicious of that. But then again, suspicion itself is not a crime.
Suspicion
Is not a crime. Suspicion is neither a misdemeanor or a felony.
Specific articulable facts. If he believes that a crime is about to be committed, there's a reason to stop and find out what's going on.
But what facts? What facts does he
The
have?
fact that a car is following him non-stop, making every turn, no matter where he goes.
But is that illegal?
It is if a crime is about to happen, that some type of
Okay,
assault
but
might happen to him.
But what facts are there that a crime is about to happen?
That
Nothing.
Somebody is following. Let me ask you this, and we'll go with these lines and this lineage of reason. Okay?
Absolutely.
Because we get this call quite frequently.
Absolutely.
People
No, that's understandable. People are paranoid.
service all the time.
People are
One of the
paranoid.
calls we receive quite frequently is that somebody's being followed. We get that call all the time. Do you feel it's inappropriate for us to go and investigate?
No.
Okay, so why would it change then for us?
So you observe, correct? What do you mean by investigate? Can you elaborate?
So we have somebody calls me that they're driving on the road, and at every single turn they make, a car continues to follow them. Typically, they'll end up driving to one of our stations so that we can meet with them there and they can feel safe when they stop, because they don't want to stop, because somebody that they don't know is following them in a car and they feel threatened.
Okay.
Why would that be any different from one of my deputies being followed and feeling threatened?
You know the difference is? So the person that called because a car was following them is a citizen. You're a public official. Public
And our
officials.
safety does not change at all.
Let me grab my drink real quick. 1 second. Sorry about that, guys. My throat's really dry. Anyway, you guys as law enforcement officers or public officials, Jesus Christ, I'm getting over a cold, are under constant public scrutiny by this.
Correct.
You guys have had a lot of training on this,
But still,
and it's legal.
if you're standing outside
Supreme
the
Court
road
has ruled it's
filming,
legal.
then I know what's happening, and all day long, you're right.
Mm-hmm.
A car following me that I have no idea what's going on. I can't see through your windshield at night if you're filming.
Yeah.
At that point, there is reasonable, articulable facts that they feel threatened for their safety, and they're going to stop and find out why I'm being followed, make sure that there's not a nefarious reason. Once they find out that there is not a nefarious reason, that it's Mr. Carroll filming me for his public safety, whatever.
Are you aware of Turner v. Driver?
I'm not specifically aware of Turner v. Driver. I wouldn't lie to you.
Turner v. Driver was about identifying and being detained for suspicious activity.
I can give me an outcome, but I don't know.
And I give me. I'm trying to talk, but I can't. Anyway, Turner v. Driver. Philip Turner was detained and arrested because it was suspicious. And he didn't want to produce ID because he was pulled over. They had no reason to pull him over, but they wanted to identify who he was. He refused. He got arrested. Run all the way to the Supreme Court. Just because an officer wants to know who a person is and they haven't committed a crime, can't do that.
Correct, and I agree with you.
Supreme Court. It's not, yeah, I was just saying, it's not necessarily me. I'm not trying to be rude, but it's the Supreme Court that made that decision. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm very, very aware of those findings. I wouldn't specifically know who was Turner v. Driver. But I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
That there's not a reason to compel someone to identify.
He was doing exactly what I was doing, filming.
Sure. And that's whatever it is. Once again, I still cannot take away from my deputy's feeling of the fact that they feel threatened by somebody following them. They don't know when to stop. I don't want one of my deputies to end up getting followed by somebody and then shot and killed.
Well, I mean, I don't think anybody wants that. I mean, I'm not trying to sound heartless or cold, but
I fully support them to keep themselves safe. There is a fine line at which point they immediately find out what is going on, and then that momentary detention ceases. Okay?
Yeah.
I will admit, once he found out that it was you, he called me and said, "Can you please, on the radio, said, can you please come to this traffic stop?" I didn't know what I was coming to when I pulled up and saw it was you. I didn't know what was going on. I think at that point he felt he wanted me to come because he wanted just to make sure that the supervisor was here documenting the interaction.
So real quick, when he was on the phone with you, he knew exactly who I was?
When he called and advised that he was out with you, yes.
Okay, cool. So he lied.
But I don't know at what point you guys spoke or who he was on the phone with.
About
at that point.
2 minutes prior to that, when he kept telling me I was being detained, tried closing my trunk, tried running my VIN, all that stuff, which, again, and I'm not sure if your guys do it, but I know FHP, whenever they pull up David, Elvis, CJIS, etc., whenever they go to run a tag query, there's a little text box in the bottom, and it actually says it, that unless you have a lawful reason to run the tag, you cannot run just blanket queries. It's actually, I don't think it's a felony, but it is an arrestable offense.
Well, we can run any tag in public for any reason or no reason if it's in the public.
It has to be a lawful reason. It's actually in your policy, too.
If we're operating on the roadway and the tag is on the roadway in the public way and everyone has the lawful right to be where they're at, it's publicly displayed.
True. But in order to run that tag, in fact, it's in your policy. I don't remember the exact policy, but it even ties in chapter 850. I don't remember the exact section.
I know what you're talking about. There's use of all that. There has to be a legitimate criminal justice reason for using a David,
Yep.
person's information.
Yes, a lawful reason.
Determine the status of the license plate, whether it's expired or valid or suspended on the tag.
And generally, when you run those tags, it's because you see that the tag itself, the sticker's usually bad or something like that. So then you verify it with David, Elvis, or whatever you guys use. Yep. So, but the thing is like, you have a lawful reason because you witnessed that tag. Yeah. But if you're just driving around, you can't just arbitrarily run a tag. You can't do that because those are considered unlawful searches and seizures under the Fourth Amendment. The FBI, CJIS, CJNet, I don't know if it's pronounced 3 or III, Elvis, David, and there's one other one, FCIC and NCIC. All of them have that prompt. I don't know, it's usually either inside the, I was going to say, then it's in the paperwork, it's in the documentation, the agreement that's signed between the law enforcement agency that uses those databases and the maintainers of those databases. I did a video on it.
It's the same, though. It's the same. The random querying of a license plate in public, on public highway, on public grounds, that has, at that point, we both have the lawful...
But what lawful reason is it?
We both have the lawful ability to be in that place. Now, I can't walk into someone's garage or on their private property and run a tag. I understand that.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing like the automatic license plate readers.
Yeah.
All of these license plates, which are out on the public roadway and are being publicly displayed, are actually property of the state of Florida.
Yeah.
And they have the ability to be queried for their status and their validity on the public roadways.
If there's a lawful reason to do so.
Which is that they're out on the public roadways and they can be checked.
No, that's the same thing as if you see somebody lawfully walking down the public sidewalk because, well, the government owns the sidewalk, right? That'd be the same thing. They own my little ID, right? So it doesn't mean that you can just arbitrarily just stop me and run my ID because you just want to run my ID. You have to have a lawful reason to.
A lawful transaction to go ahead and infringe upon your rights to stop you. But we're not stopping the car. We're not impeding its flow of traffic, so there is no detention of it.
No, but you're arbitrarily running their information, which would be a violation of the Fourth. Persons, papers, and effects.
It's been provided and it's actually out on the lawful public way.
True, but in order for you to obtain that, you would have to run a query on that, correct? Okay, so you would have to investigate somebody for not committing a crime in order to run that.
The Supreme Court has upheld the random querying of text. That's how LPRs in the entire country are being able to be used.
Which honestly is a violation of the Fourth Amendment. But unfortunately, we have Supreme Court justices that have their heads so far up their ass and don't give a shit about the Constitution. And unfortunately, we also have law enforcement officers that love that.
What you are saying, what you believe, your interpretation of the Constitution, which I'm not discrediting, but at the same time, we all have to follow what the Supreme Court ruling has followed because
not necessarily Murdoch v. Madison.
Told me that we have the appellate courts and the Supreme Courts and the state Supreme Courts that we have to follow those case law. I have followed case law.
Except Murdoch v. Madison. Look that up. Any Supreme Court decision, law, ordinance, etc., that is a direct violation of the Constitution is null and void upon creation.
Which you can at that point then take it and file a civil rights violation in federal court. But beyond that, I mean, we are following what our the case law has been developed from whatever court has developed.
But you know who unfortunately used that same excuse? The people that are trying to defend themselves in the Nuremberg trials.
And Mr. Carroll, I'm not saying I agree one way or the other, but you know very well that when I put on this uniform, have to follow specific and certain laws, and case laws, and policies.
Absolutely.
Okay? So there are things that we're discussing or arguing right now.
Yeah. Well, I'm not trying to argue. I don't want you to think I'm arguing with you. No.
Arguing is a negative I
Okay.
feel that arguing a case in
Yeah.
court
Yeah.
is simply
We're having civil discourse. Yeah.
It's a definition.
Yeah.
Arguing each side.
Yeah.
We are discussing these events and these situations and these positions in order to come to some clarity.
Yeah.
And we have to go by guidelines. Of those is which one case law. And that is one thing that I have to follow because that is what I'm held to. That's going to be what I'm held to.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, we all know that our deputies are aware of who, majority of some are new, but our deputies are aware of who you are.
Yep.
Okay. When they see that it is you and there is no unlawful acts being committed, we will continue to remind them that they need to then go ahead and cease and desist any type of detentions once they have achieved everything that they feel that they need to achieve to maintain either their safety or uphold the law. Okay? And I don't disagree with that. All right? But I think purposefully then once you realize that what they're doing is starting to infringe upon that, you also take a position and a stance of trying to further aggravate and push them to continue.
Absolutely. If you're going to violate my rights, go ahead and do it fully.
To continue doing something.
And I have a lawful right to do so.
At which point he called the supervisor because I feel he felt that he wanted to make sure that he talked to me about the situation. Okay? We'll have conversations and remind everybody, as we do frequently, about a gamut of things as far as, knowing the law and making sure they interpret the law properly and making sure that they follow the law and uphold it.
Yeah. I was going to say, he's been on the force for, 20-something years now almost? It's been about 20 years. I was going to say,
it's not over 20.
It's close to 20, though. He's been here for a while. Him and I have had numerous interactions over the last 6 years. He knows exactly who I am. He knew exactly who I was when I was over there. He knew exactly who I was when he said I was being detained because he wanted to find out who I was, and then momentarily got off, walked over to the other side of his car, got on the phone with you and said, hey, I've got James Carroll here. And then, again, wanted to lie directly to the other guy and say he didn't know who I was, and that was the reason he was detaining me, because he wanted to know who I was. When, again, he said my name over there, knew exactly who I was. He knew exactly who I was over here. He knew exactly who I was when you walked up. He lied directly to you, right in front of you.
Well, he didn't.
He literally did.
To me, I didn't.
He lied right in front of you.
About what? I don't know what specific.
He wanted to tell me because he didn't know who I was.
He didn't tell me that. I walked out and immediately started talking to you. I had no conversation.
When all three of us were standing right here in front of your car. When he was standing over on this side, the other deputy was over here, and you were standing right here. And I was talking to you, and then I turned to him and said, and what was the reason? He says, I wanted to stop you because I didn't know who you were.
When you were in your car following him?
No, he even said right here, when he didn't know who I was.
Once the stop was...
He knew who I was from the get-go.
And he saw who you were.
And I get that, but he knew exactly who I was from the get-go. But that's the problem. The issue I have with this, and I get... I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
Let's go to the other side of this, okay?
Absolutely.
Because we have all of these things where we have to go with, like, playing devil's advocate, per se.
Yeah.
That's a good term of saying it. Is that until we have 100% proof positive, like, did he see you standing on the side? Did he see you get into a black Mercedes? Did he see a car?
Absolutely.
Very shortly thereafter started following him.
Got it all on camera.
Is there any possibility that he was looking forward, not looking back, and another car could have turned in between you and him and started following? Hold on.
Yeah.
Could that, in the realm of the world,
Yeah.
could that have happened? Could a car have turned in? Could it? So
in that whole situation, absolutely not. And I'm going to tell you exactly why. Because when he made that turn off of Golden Gate, I don't know the exact street, but he comes and loops around. He stopped in front of somebody's house. I stopped right behind him and parked in the driveway. He continued to drive. I never got more than 50 feet from him. He kept driving, came up all the way to the stop sign. In fact, never even turned off his lights, and then was actually driving without his headlights on for a little bit too. We then came back out onto Golden Gate. He pretended to pull into the substation. I continued straight. He immediately pulled out behind me. I came up over here to pretend like I was going to go into the library, and he whipped it around this way, and I got right back behind him, and he came pulling into here, and I came pulling into here right behind him, and he came and he stopped right here. And so
all of that interaction,
he never once lost sight of me.
but between you standing outside of your vehicle on the side of the road, and
Never once lost sight of me. Never lost sight of me.
How far did he drive past after he drove past? Did he stop?
When?
You said he saw you stand on the side of the road.
Yeah, and I parked. There was a driveway, literally. Hold on. So he's parked right here, right? I was parked right here. Okay. This is Golden Gate. I parked literally right here. He saw me. He shone a spotlight on me. Okay. And that's when he was talking to the female deputy that was in 281. At least it looked like a female. I'm not going to make assumptions, but had a ponytail, but was saying, oh, it's Mr. Carroll. Or 218 or something like that, 281. I don't know. I saw a 2, an 8, and a 1, so, but I'd have to go back and check. But I guarantee if you look at the GPS data, I'm telling you exactly what I said verbatim. You can pull up the GPS data on his car, and I'm telling you verbatim. And
my question is between him seeing outside the car and then seeing a car behind him, there has to be a momentary lag in those two things happening. You can't
literally never
be in your car and then be immediately behind him unless he stopped.
He was parked. He was stopped in the middle of the road with his lights off. He was stopped in the middle of the road. Violation of 316.1945. Stop in the roadway.
And Mr. Carroll, you know that there is also a section in the state law that says that we
316.072.
are exempt from traffic.
But that's while in pursuit or while...
No.
Nope. It's while in pursuit. Yep. 316.072. Yep.
There is, though, a statute that provides that we can, on our way
skirt
to call,
certain, yeah.
Can exceed the speed limit.
And that exact statute is 316.072.
Correct. It doesn't mean that we have to be in pursuit. It means that we have to be just in the function of doing...
While in pursuit. At the very beginning of that statute, while in pursuit. While in pursuit. That is the key thing in that statute is while in pursuit. And then it says it is unlawful to do so if you're not in pursuit or responding to a call or on a call or active on a scene. Sitting in the middle of the road trying to catch speeders is not any three of those things. I've been over this with PRB. They like to pretend like, oh, well, we're going to completely ignore that specific portion of the statute.
Continue. So he stopped, you pulled up directly behind him.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. We'll have this conversation.
Yeah, like I said, and unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to be there for the conversation, so I'm not going to be able to file complaints on him lying.
No.
But from what I do have, I have enough for several complaints, and...
you obviously have the right to do whatever you feel you need to do.
Yeah.
Okay? I will have a conversation with him. And, part of everyday operations of our agencies, you are aware of, is continual learning. I can't say that everybody's perfect. I agree. Human and there are errors.
100%. We're all human.
So there will be a conversation, and I will make sure that he understands. But at the same time, he's also a quality deputy who deserves to have the respect that he receives for what he has done well and very good over a long career of...
And I don't know about you, but when I was raised, I was always taught that respect is earned, not given. Correct?
Correct.
And if I receive respect, I give respect. Correct. Just like I'm being respectful with you right now. No, absolutely. And there's quite a few deputies within the Collier County Sheriff's Office that I have the utmost respect for, and I have respectful interactions with them. When deputies act like that, not so much. Or like Woods, who physically battered me inside the parking lot, and then I had both German and Rigo laugh about it. And again, that's not a situation you were in, yeah.
I wouldn't even begin to speak of it.
Yeah. But, again, like there are certain deputies that, I'm going to be respectful towards because they've shown nothing but respect for me. So I'm going to be respectful towards them. But even at the same time, like even if you're being respectful towards me, I don't lawfully have to be respectful towards you. I have that First Amendment right, which, you obviously know. I have that right to redress my grievances as I see fit, provided that they're lawful. I can yell, I can curse, I can, flick the middle finger, I can tell you go fuck yourself, this and that, da-da-da-da. Right. And it's all 100% lawful, Absolutely. Freedom of speech, right to redress grievances. And if I so choose to exercise that, then I so choose to exercise it. Someone else wants to chooses to exercise it, and they choose to exercise it, etc. And at the end of the day, unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but like the thing is, that's something that, not necessarily you as a law enforcement officer, not you directly, but as a law enforcement officer, you guys step into that when you decided to take the job. I get it a lot. Oh, well, why did this and that and that? And it's like, okay, well, nobody put a gun. Did anyone put a gun to your head and tell you you have to be a cop?
No.
Okay, so you chose to take the job, correct? Okay. As with, I would say all police officers. I'm not going to say most. I'm going to say all police officers made a conscious decision to become law enforcement officers, right? Public officials. So then they kind of, when going into, that position, they understand that, hey, you know what? I'm going to be, met with this at some point, and it's how they choose to act and, or not act on it. Yeah. I don't know. I appreciate the conversation, though. So, anything crazy? What was with that felony stop earlier? The one over on Pine Ridge and 951. the white Infinity. They had a couple of the cops had their guns drawn. It was about maybe an hour, well, about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours ago. No?
Jason's district that butts up against Collier, so.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I don't know. I happened to drive by and I saw there was a felony stop going on. They had the guns drawn on the car, but they had one guy in the back that they already had cuffed and they were frisking. So, yeah. Nope. So, all right. Well, have a safe evening.
Have a good evening. Yep.
Thank you.
We're back out. I don't want
You as well? Nope, you're good, man. Thank you. All right. Anyway, guys. So, that's that. We'll go through this real fast. All right. Anywho, thank you guys for tuning in. Again, phone number to the sheriff's office is 239-252-9300. The deputy that detained me was Deputy, I think it's Polizzato. If you guys want to go back in the stream, I'm going to end this here in just a moment so you guys can go back. But, wow, shutdown. Yeah, that's right. Send me an email about that. You were telling me about it. I think you did send an email, but I don't think I got a follow-up from that. But anyway, guys, thanks for tuning in. Phone number is 239-252-9300. Again, Deputy Polizzato. This is the Collier County Sheriff's Office. This occurred in... I will see you guys later. Deuces.